You pay $10 for a night's stay, what do you expect? A safe place or just a corner to hide? But what if that door is locked to conceal a horrific crime? On March 12, 2021, in Detroit, Michigan, the Starlight Motel on Grand River Avenue was a decaying phantom. Its vacancy neon sign flickered in the night, beckoning the desperate. For $10, you got a bed, a lock, and silence. But on Friday morning, that silence was shattered. A cleaning lady pushed open the door to room 204 and screamed in horror. Under the bed, the lifeless body of Kayla Monroe, 22, lay motionless, her pale hand reaching out. Kayla entered the motel on Wednesday night with a small backpack. No one saw her leave. 2 days later, Detroit police, led by Detective John Whitaker, sealed off the scene. "This is a murder," Whitaker said, his voice cold. Kayla had been strangled, her clothes disheveled, her body hastily stuffed under the bed like a worthless item. A cheap necklace, not hers, lay nearby. Detroit, a city of scars, was no stranger to crime. The Starlight Motel was a place for those who wanted to disappear. But Kayla's death stirred a haunting dread. Who did this? A tall black man mentioned by nearby residents. They spoke of an argument from room 204 on Wednesday night, but no one dared say much. Here, silence was a way to survive. Police discovered a man had paid cash to rent room 204 before Kayla arrived. He vanished shortly after. She just wanted to rest. Sarah, Kayla's best friend, choked out. Those were Kayla's last words. Under the starlight's neon glow, the question hung in the air. Would justice come for Kayla, or would she just be another forgotten name in the heart of Detroit? Kayla Monroe, 22, was a strong girl on the edge of Detroit's poverty line. With blonde hair and blue eyes, she was a light in her family. Her mother, Linda, worked night shifts at a factory, raising Kayla and her 3 siblings alone. She always smiled, Linda recounted, her voice trembling. Kayla worked as a waitress at Joe's Diner, loved for her diligence. But she carried a heavy burden student debt from a nursing course she dropped out of, and the pressure to leave Detroit. The Starlight Motel, where Kayla met her fate, was a rundown building on Grand River Avenue. For $10, you got an old bed and fragile privacy. The manager, Eddie, didn't ask for guests' names. "They pay, I give them the key," he said. This motel was a destination for those in hiding where screams were not uncommon. Before her death, Kayla changed. Sarah, her best friend, noticed she was anxious, constantly checking her phone. "There was a man texting her," Sarah said, "a tall black man from the bar where she worked extra." Kayla didn't say much, but she felt uneasy. On Wednesday night, she said she needed to hide for a night. With $50 and a small backpack, she went to the Starlight. The area around the motel was riddled with crime. Residents were accustomed to arguments and strange cars at night. "I heard shouting," a neighbor said, but added, "Here you don't get curious." Kayla had entered room 204, unaware that a man had rented the room before her. He paid cash and disappeared, leaving behind a secret that would change everything. Wednesday night, March 10th, 2021. 8:15 p.m., Kayla Monroe pushed open the door to room 204 at the Starlight Motel. The dim fluorescent light flickered, illuminating the stained carpet and worn single bed. She put down her backpack, sighed, thinking this was just a temporary night. The door closed, the lock clicking shut. No one knew it was the last sound marking her life. 8:47 p.m. A man entered the room. He was tall, wearing a black jacket, the smell of cheap cigarettes clinging to him. Kayla flinched, clutching her phone. "What are you doing here?" she asked, her voice trembling. He didn't answer, just advanced. An argument erupted, brief but fierce. A neighbor heard it, but in Detroit, screams often dissolved into the night. 9:03 p.m. Everything went silent. Kayla lay on the floor, her neck bruised, eyes wide and still. The killer, his face expressionless, dragged her body to the bed. He shoved her under it hastily, as if just hiding her was enough. A plastic necklace, a cheap item from the bar, fell from his pocket, rolling onto the floor. He didn't notice. 9:12 p.m. He left the room, locked the door, and walked out onto Grand River Avenue. The Starlight neon still flickered unnoticed by anyone. Thursday morning, 7:30 a.m. Eddie, the manager, walked past room 204. He frowned at the strange smell, but thought it was just trash. He didn't open the door. All day, no one knocked on the room door. Kayla lay there, growing cold in the cramped darkness under the bed. Friday, 10:45 a.m. Maria, the cleaning lady, opened room 204. The strong, foul smell made her cough. She was about to change the sheets when she saw a pale hand sticking out from under the bed. Maria's scream echoed through the motel. Eddie ran over, his face ashen. "Call the police," he mumbled, his hand shaking as he dialed 911. 11:20 a.m. Detective John Whitaker arrived at the scene. The smell of blood and decay mingled in the suffocating air. Police pulled Kayla's body out her clothes, disheveled, clear ligature marks on her skin. "She's been dead less than 48 hours, an investigator said. The plastic necklace lay nearby, glinting under the forensic camera's flash. Whitaker picked it up, frowning. "This isn't hers," he said. Tension engulfed the Starlight Motel. The killer had planned, but not carefully enough. Under the bed, a secret had been left behind, and it would lead police to him. Friday morning, March 12th, 2021, 11:50 a.m. The Starlight Motel was in chaos. Police sirens wailed, red and blue lights flashed on Grand River Avenue. Maria, the cleaning lady, huddled on a plastic chair in the hallway, her face pale. "I just wanted to clean the room," she repeated to Detective John Whitaker, her voice trembling. "I didn't think I'd see her like that." Maria, a Mexican immigrant woman, had worked at this motel for 3 years, accustomed to the mixed bag of guests. But the sight under the bed in room 204 made her unable to stop shaking. Maria wasn't the only witness. In the apartment across from the motel, Mrs. Clara Johnson, 62, looked through her window with anxious eyes. Clara had lived in this neighborhood her entire life, witnessing everything from drugs to violence. On Wednesday night at 8:50 p.m., she heard an argument from room 204. A female voice panicked, then a male voice, deep and angry. She told Whitaker. Clara saw a tall black man wearing a black jacket leave the motel shortly after. She didn't dare call the police right away, afraid of getting involved. "Here, you don't interfere in other people's business," she said, her voice full of regret. But a small detail changed everything. When police searched room 204, they found the cheap plastic necklace. Whitaker, with over 20 years of experience, recognized it didn't fit Kayla, a simple girl who didn't wear flashy jewelry. He sent it to the forensics team requesting fingerprint analysis. Meanwhile, Clara, after a sleepless night, decided to speak up. "I saw him go into the motel with the girl," she said, pointing towards the Starlight. "He's not a stranger. I've seen him here a few times." Clara provided a description. The man was about 30 years old, over 180 tall, with a faded tattoo on his neck. Whitaker took notes, feeling this was a breakthrough. He checked Eddie's registration book, finding a scribbled signature for room 204, James. No last name, no information. But a blurry security camera in the motel hallway captured an image of a man matching Clara's description, leaving the room at 9:15 p.m. on Wednesday. The silence of the Starlight Motel began to crack. Maria, despite her fear, admitted she had seen this man talking to Kayla at the bar where she worked extra. "He used to sit in the corner watching her," Maria whispered. Whitaker knew they were getting closer to the killer. The necklace and Clara's testimony were not just clues. They were the keys to solving the case. Friday afternoon, March 12, 2021. Detective John Whitaker sat in his office at the Detroit Police Department, eyes glued to the screen. The video footage from the Starlight Motel security camera was blurry but clear enough to show a tall black man leaving room 204 at 9:15 p.m. on Wednesday. The faded tattoo on his neck matched Clara Johnson's description. Whitaker knew they were hunting a dangerous predator. The forensics team reported the plastic necklace had clear fingerprints not belonging to Kayla. Whitaker sent the fingerprints through the national database. Saturday morning, the results came back. The fingerprints matched James Jimmy Carter, 32, with a criminal record for violence and drug trafficking. Carter lived in East Detroit near the Starlight. "He's no stranger to us," Whitaker told the investigation team. 3:00 p.m., Saturday police raided Carter's apartment. He wasn't there, but they found a black jacket similar to the one in the video and an old phone. Messages on the phone showed Carter had been in contact with Kayla for over a month, the tone growing increasingly coercive. A message from Wednesday night 8:30 p.m. read, "Meet me at the motel. Don't make me wait." Whitaker gritted his teeth. He planned it. Traffic cameras near the motel recorded Carter's car, an old Ford, leaving the area at 9:20 p.m. on Wednesday. The autopsy results confirmed Kayla was strangled, dying around 9:00 p.m. DNA traces under her fingernails matched Carter. "Everything points to him," Whitaker said. Saturday evening, Carter was arrested at a bar 5 miles from the motel. When handcuffed, he remained silent, his eyes cold. In the interrogation room, Whitaker read him his Miranda rights and began. "You were in room 204 Wednesday night. Kayla died there," talked Jimmy. Carter smirked, denying it. But when Whitaker placed the necklace on the table, he stiffened. "That's not mine," he said, his voice faltering. After 3 hours of confrontation, Carter broke down. "I didn't mean to kill her," he mumbled. He confessed that Kayla refused to work for him, a drug network. When she argued back, he got angry and strangled her. "I panicked, so I hid her under the bed." He said, his head bowed. Whitaker walked out of the interrogation room, his face heavy. They had found the killer, but looking at Kayla's photo on the table, he knew justice was just the beginning. "We got him," he told the team, "but we can't bring her back." In November 2021, the courtroom at Wayne County Court, Detroit was packed. James Jimmy Carter, 32, stood before the defendant's stand, his face emotionless. After 7 months of investigation, the grand jury convicted him of first-degree murder. The evidence was irrefutable fingerprints on the necklace DNA under Kayla's fingernails and his confession in the interrogation room. The judge sentenced him to life in prison without parole. Linda Monroe. Kayla's mother sat in the front row clutching her daughter's photo, silent tears falling. "Justice has come," she said, "but it doesn't bring Kayla back." Kayla Monroe's death left a scar on Detroit. At the Starlight Motel, guests dwindled and the neon sign finally went dark. Eddie, the manager, closed the motel a few months later, unable to bear the public's scrutinizing gaze. Clara Johnson. The key witness moved out of the neighborhood, haunted by what she witnessed. "I wish I had spoken up sooner," she told a reporter. Sarah, Kayla's best friend, established a small scholarship fund in her name, hoping to help young girls escape the cycle of poverty. The Detroit community buzzed about the case. Newspapers from the Detroit Free Press to Dateline NBC covered it extensively, emphasizing the danger of places like the Starlight Motel. Some activists called for improved security in poor areas, but in a city riddled with problems, those promises quickly faded into oblivion. "Kayla wasn't the first and won't be the last," Detective John Whitaker said bitterly in an interview. He retired a year later, carrying the indelible memories of the case. Kayla's death raised a poignant question: what led a young, hopeful girl to end up under the bed of a rundown motel? The system failed her from overwhelming debt to the lack of safety in places like the Starlight. Justice was served, but the pain remains. Those who knew Kayla remember her smile, but also cannot forget the cruelty of the one who stole it. In the shadows of Detroit, the neon lights may have gone out, but Kayla's story still resonates. It reminds us that killers don't just come from dark alleys, but sometimes from places we thought were safe. And in a city of scars, silence remains the most dangerous enemy.